You think you're free. You think you choose what you eat, what you watch, what you want. But what if your freedom was just a well-designed feedback loop? Today, no one silences you. They just keep you entertained. No need to ban books. TikTok did the job. You're not chained in a prison. You're just so comfortable you stop noticing the walls. And while your fingers swipe, your thoughts dissolve. This is the world Huxley feared. Not loud, not violent, pleasant. A place where comfort replaces conviction and pleasure becomes the leash. Where attention dies not from assault, but from saturation. You don't resist because you're always slightly amused. The great dystopia isn't painful, it's convenient. And convenience is a luxury you're paying for with your mind. So let's begin where it all gets beautifully dangerous, not with propaganda, not with fear, with entertainment, the most elegant form of control ever invented. We were warned, but not with alarms. Huxley whispered it nearly a century ago. He didn't imagine a world of chains and boots, but a world where no one needs to ban books because no one wants to read, where people aren't silenced, they're too entertained to speak. Today we don't burn knowledge, we drown it under cat videos, auto-playing content and infinite scroll. You call it freedom. It's a leash you charge every night and carry willingly in your pocket. You're not relaxing when you scroll, you're being rewired. Every swipe, ping and personalized recommendation is a dopamine-engineered trap. Your nervous system isn't yours anymore, it's managed by code. As Byung-Chul Han says, power today hides behind freedom. You believe you're choosing, but your choices are pre-curated, optimized to keep you passive, distracted, and always coming back for more. You're not the user, you're the product, the addicted product. What we call entertainment is mental anesthesia. Pascal warned, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Today, silence feels like failure, boredom like death. We fill every gap with flashing lights and empty noise. The attention span dies, reflection becomes unbearable, even rest feels wrong unless it's mediated through a screen. We haven't escaped the matrix, we scroll through it daily, voluntarily. The real genius of this system, it doesn't need to fight you, it flatters you. It wraps the cage in personalization, injects meaninglessness with novelty, and numbs your instincts with micro-pleasures. Orwell warned us about the pain of oppression. Huxley saw something worse, the pleasure of submission. There are no guards, just buzzes, alerts, and trending sounds. You don't feel imprisoned, you feel entertained. That's the soft dictatorship, and you love it. Because if entertainment is the bait, pleasure is the hook. You thought it was a treat. Turns out it was the trap. We used to chase pleasure as a reward. Now we're just chasing it to feel something, anything. But here's the twist. The more accessible it gets, the more it devours you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how pleasure stopped being a gift and became a weapon. There was a time when pleasure meant something. It was rare, earned, meaningful. It followed effort the way sunrise follows night. Now, it's delivered instantly, no friction required. You don't climb toward it, you scroll down to reach it, but pleasure without effort doesn't nourish. It distracts. You're not enjoying, you're escaping. One more click, one more treat, one more spark of reward. You're not searching for joy. You're soothing an itch you didn't know you had. The ancients called this akrasia, choosing what you know will weaken you. Today, it's not a personal flaw, it's a design feature. Everything is engineered to keep you reacting, never choosing. As Nietzsche said, he who cannot command himself must obey. And we obey. Every ping, every craving, every shortcut dressed as a gift. Real freedom isn't about having options, it's about resisting the easy ones. The modern world has turned pleasure into a product. Food is no longer fuel, it's chemistry. Social apps don't connect, they simulate. Even rest has to be optimized, tracked, quantified. But the more accessible the reward, the less it satisfies. The brain adapts, craves faster, louder, brighter. So you increase the dose, but you feel less. What used to inspire now feels dull. Quiet moments become uncomfortable. Real life feels too slow. And here's the deeper cost. The easier the pleasure, the more it robs you. Not your time, your strength. Every time you chase the quick win, you train yourself to avoid resistance. But resistance is the birthplace of everything that matters. Growth, meaning, love, creativity. There is no shortcut to what truly fulfills you. No push notification will ever build your soul. You have to choose effort over ease, repeatedly. Ask yourself, what kind of self are you building through these tiny choices? Because every quick comfort you accept without question is a brick in the house of passivity. You're not just numbing discomfort, you're becoming someone who can't face it. That's how pleasure becomes a weapon, silent, soft, and slowly stealing your edge. But here's the twist. When pleasure is everywhere, meaning becomes rare. And when you've been trained to chase stimulation at all times, you forget how to focus. That's where we're headed next. Not into joy, not into pain, into fragmentation. Let's explore what happens when attention becomes the first casualty. Your mind wasn't built for this. 1,000 inputs a day, notifications, headlines, messages, endless streams of noise. You're not designed to multitask, you're designed to focus. But today, focus feels like an ancient ritual. Your attention is no longer something you control. It's something being harvested, divided, and sold. As Herbert Simon said, a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. And that's exactly where we are, rich in content, poor in clarity. When your attention breaks, everything breaks with it. You can't read deeply, can't listen fully, can't even finish a thought without a reflex to check, scroll, refresh. You don't own your focus anymore, it's been auctioned off to the highest bidder. The result, a mind that's always busy but never still, always stimulated but rarely present. Fragmented attention doesn't just affect what you consume, it changes who you are becoming. We confuse stimulation with engagement, but the brain makes no distinction between fast content and fast food. It just craves what's immediate. Over time, depth starts to feel like effort. Stillness feels like boredom. Reflection becomes uncomfortable. And when that happens, you lose access to the one thing that separates humans from machines, the ability to pause, to contemplate, to choose slowly. A distracted mind is easier to please, but impossible to fulfill. Philosophers from Epictetus to Simone Weil have said the same thing in different ways. Attention is the foundation of freedom. If you can't direct your focus, you can't direct your life. And if your life is nothing but reactions, what are you really? You're no longer the protagonist, you're the feed. A constant swirl of other people's agendas, sounds, suggestions, reactions. The more fragmented your attention becomes, the more invisible yourself becomes. This is the hidden cost of always on. Not stress, not exhaustion, but disconnection from your own mind. You become a mirror for whatever's trending. A reflex machine. Calm feels impossible. Long-term thinking feels distant. The soul needs silence, and we've replaced it with noise on demand. The more connected we are, the more disconnected we feel, from ourselves, from purpose, from others. And here's the final blow. Without attention, even pleasure becomes hollow. You can't enjoy what you can't focus on, so you chase more, feel less, and forget why you started. Let's talk about how to reclaim it. Because without attention, there is no meaning. And without meaning, all the pleasure in the world becomes just distraction in disguise. This isn't a call for purity. You don't need to delete your apps or live in a cabin. But if you don't take back the steering wheel of your own attention, someone else will drive, probably straight into distraction. The question isn't whether you should enjoy pleasure. The question is, who's in charge when it shows up? Because if every craving leads to action, then pleasure isn't joy, it's instruction. Reclaiming your inner power starts with friction, not running away from discomfort, but retraining yourself to sit in it. Real presence is a muscle. At first, silence will feel like withdrawal. Reading a full page without checking your phone will feel like a workout. That's not failure, that's healing. In a world of instant everything, patience is a rebellion. Stillness is strategy. Focus is freedom. Aldous Huxley warned us not just about pleasure, but about the love of servitude, that dangerous comfort that keeps you compliant, just stimulated enough to forget you ever wanted more. Reclaiming your power means choosing when to indulge and when to resist. It means becoming someone who can delay gratification, not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand value. The best things grow slowly. Love, skill, clarity, and yes, pleasure too. Viktor Frankl said it best, between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. That space is your kingdom. Rebuilding it requires boundaries, not to punish yourself, but to protect what matters. Your attention is sacred. Don't trade it for noise. Your time is finite. Don't spend it decorating a feed instead of building a future. And your identity, it's not what you consume, it's what you create. Reclaiming inner power doesn't mean rejecting pleasure. It means restoring hierarchy, putting pleasure in its proper place, not as master, not as enemy, but as a guest. You welcome it when it serves you. You close the door when it doesn't. That's not restriction, that's sovereignty. And sovereignty feels better than any shortcut pleasure ever will. Because in the end, the ultimate reward isn't more pleasure, it's more self, more clarity, more presence, more life on your terms. So, what do we take away from this little stroll through Huxley's pleasure-drenched dystopia? That in the 21st century, control wears a smile. That silence now feels like failure. That our craving for comfort has outgrown our craving for truth. And that the most efficient way to keep a population compliant isn't fear or force. It's the endless scroll, the dopamine drip, the illusion of choice. We were promised paradise and got push notifications. Pleasure is no longer a reward, it's a sedative. Attention isn't something we give, it's something taken. And meaning, it now hides behind the discomfort we've been trained to avoid. Maybe true freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Maybe it's wanting what actually matters. Maybe the bravest thing you can do today is to close the app and sit with yourself. If that idea makes you uncomfortable, good. That's the point. So give your brain a small revolution. Like, comment, and subscribe, not out of impulse, but out of intent. And if you ever feel lost in the noise, remember this. In a world addicted to distraction, focus is rebellion, and thinking is an act of war.